everyone. We are going to be introducing the genre flip today. So this is going to be your very last major assignment other than the final, which is just a reflection. But for this assignment, you're going to be taking anything you've written in this class. It can be your opinion piece that we're finishing up this week. It can be your literacy narrative, your movie review. The genre analysis is a little bit hard. You can do it if you really, really want to. That one might be just slightly more difficult, but you can even go into the reflections. So like you could do like the zombie apocalypse scholarship. I know several of you wrote that one. You could even pull into something like that. But you're going to be flipping it into a different genre. And there are several reasons why I do this assignment. But the main one is when you go off into your careers in life, you're not going to be writing huge papers. I mean, some of you will, depending on what you do, but the majority of stuff that you're going to be creating is going to be things potentially, or are going to be things like PowerPoints and brochures and little presentations that you might be giving to groups of people. And so I think it's really good to get some practice taking something that you've kind of researched and created and flipping it into something else, because you're going to be doing this in your careers all the time. So you have a lot of freedom with what you're picking. Some examples of what you can do are PowerPoint, drawing, painting. I've had students do paintings before, and those have been really awesome. I've had poems, storyboards, people have made little movies, a Flipgrid Prezi. You really are wide open on this. I want you to pick something that you are going to enjoy creating. For this assignment, the first thing you're going to do is decide which genre you want to flip and what you want to flip it into. So make that decision. Do I really want to go back and address my literacy narrative? I really loved my opinion piece. I'd like to do something with it. You have flexibility for this, but if you're telling me, for example, that you're going to flip your literacy narrative into a poem and then experience writer's block, you'll be able to do something else. It'll be fine. I'll be fine with that. Say you just decide, well, I just decided to do a PowerPoint kind of at the last minute because I just could not come up with a poem. I had an idea, it left my head. It happens, and that will be perfectly fine. Next, I want you to consider your audience. So we were going to present this to an audience of your peers. We won't be doing that this semester, but I still want you to create this as if you were doing it for your classmates, not necessarily for me, not for a classroom full of old stuffy professors. Your audience is your peers. So consider the constraints it might have and what your audience would like to see. Remember, your generation is a very visual generation, so they're probably going to want, not something like I'm presenting to you here. They're probably going to be wanting images and something kind of interactive in it. And so you might want to consider that when you're creating this. Then I want you to create your project. Since you already have created it in one genre, the roadmap is there. But remember, this is technically a new creation. So I want you to be aware of your audience and your constraints. Think about whenever you give a presentation, you don't want it to necessarily be too long. I once had a student, it was so good, I enjoyed it. He had done his research paper on the siege of Leningrad, which I love history, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I kind of gave them like a no more than 10-minute presentation, and he went on for like 25 minutes. And I was like, hey, we kind of have to stop here. That's half the class period. And I could tell the other students' eyes were kind of glazing over. And so, when you're giving presentations or you're creating things like this, you don't want them to be too long. That would definitely be a constraint. So like if you're creating it into a PowerPoint or a Prezi or a movie, just think, hey, if I was presenting this and this was going to last about 20 minutes, it might be too long. So I might want to trim down the content a little bit. Or if you take your zombie apocalypse essay and you realize it's really kind of short for a presentation, and it just seems kind of quick and people might be like, okay, what was that all about? You might want to add to it. So, you have the freedom to maybe take some content away or add some content to it in order to keep your audience interested. Part of this assignment will also include an artist statement. So after you complete the genre flip, you will create this statement. We'll be going over it in class next week, but basically it's a less than one page. It can just be half a page document that states what piece you picked and why you picked it and what genre you flipped it into, your reasonings for the flip. So why did you pick that particular genre, your process, how did you go about creating it into a different genre, and what you hope your audience will get out of experiencing your creation. So we'll go over that next week. I don't want you to worry about it too much. They're super simple. artist statements are really common for like any kind of artwork that's created, that kind of basically talks about that exigence. Why did I create this and what am I hoping, other people to get out of it? So for your reflection this week, I want you to take some time, really think about it, and think about which assignment that you would like to use, why, and what genre you'd like to flip it into. So in one paragraph of about 50 to 100 words, I want you to tell me what assignment you were thinking about flipping and into what genre. And it's fine to say that you are going to flip your opinion paper into a PowerPoint, because honestly, it'll be easy with all the other crazy things going on in your life this semester. I want you to be thoughtful and honest. And there's nothing wrong with just doing a PowerPoint. I would encourage you to maybe try branching out a little bit and maybe do something like a Prezi or whatnot. If you do a PowerPoint, I'm going to want lots of slides, lots of images, and we're going to go over all the logistics of everything next week. And with the official prompt, this is just kind of the introduction to let you know, hey, we're about to get into this. This is what we're going to be doing. I want you to be thinking about it. And I want you to be thoughtful and honest in this. So consider this to be kind of like another baby proposal. So 50 to 100 words, let me know what you're thinking about doing and why, and we'll get into all the nitty gritty next week. So just as an example, I've had lots of students do several different papers. So this was one that a student did on Step Brothers, and just kind of take a look at just a couple of the slides. Kind of gave a brief overview, but what I really love is on every slide, there's some images from the movie, just to kind of really get into it. So notice here, it's not just words. They made sure to include images to keep the audience engaged, and that was pretty nice of them. Another thing that a student did that I thought was really neat is that they used this program called, hold on a second, let me press play, Movely. It's called Movely, and I've never used it before, but if any of you want to maybe try to explore it a little bit, they can basically take GIFs and you can kind of, she read her literacy narrative, but included these GIFs that kind of went along with what she was talking about in the movie. And that was actually a lot of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. So again, you have a lot of creative freedom. I look forward to seeing what you create and what you're thinking about doing. A lot of students tend to really like this assignment because, it is fun. I want you to have fun with it. As I said, prompt will be discussed in class next week. And if you have any questions or concerns, just let me know.